So, made a decision today that I'm just going to write off this pressure washer here. Not really sure what else I can do. So I explained this in yesterday's video. He wanted me to work on his lawnmower. Wouldn't start, so he said, "Come on over. You can come get it right now." So I came over, got it. 2 days later, I had it fixed. I called him up. He says, "Yeah, come on over. I'm here right now." So, okay, we're coming over. Dropped it off. This was all during regular business hours. My business hours are 6 to 4. I work 10 hours. And the reason I start so early is because a lot of people like to drop off their equipment before they go to work. They can just drive, wherever they're, going through. And it just seems to make more sense. What I notice is not so many people want to do it in the evening because they're getting home, then they have to load it up and all that. So what I noticed is when they get home, they load up their lawnmower, and then the next morning they come and drop it off. It just makes more sense. So that's what we do, 6 to 4. Otherwise, I could do it, But I also enjoy my evenings. This is supposed to be a hobby business. So he wanted me to work on this. And he said, "Take your time, no hurry." Which should have been a clue right there. So 4 days later, if I include the weekends, if it was just work days, it was 2 days. And I got this repaired. I immediately called him up, said, "Hey, pressure washer's ready. When would you like me to bring it over?" And he says, later this evening or the afternoon. Now remember, it was already 1:30 when I called him. It was 1:30. He said, "Yeah, bring it over this afternoon. I'll call you." He says, "I got another piece of equipment I want to put in the back of your truck." I said, "Okay, great." So at, let's see, 6 o'clock that evening, he called me and said, "Yeah, go ahead and bring that pressure washer over, and we can load up this other piece of equipment." I said, "Well, my day's over with. I've already closed up shop." I said, "Can I bring it over tomorrow?" He says, "Yeah, bring it over." He says, "Wait a minute," and his wife was in the background talking. I could hear her. Not what she was saying, but I could hear her. And he says, "I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow at 9, and then we got this other thing we got to go to. My wife and I are going to drive separately, so I can leave early and come over and call you." Well, he never called. So at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, I called both phone numbers, left a message on both phone numbers, and then I text the cell phone, letting him know the shop's closed. And so I didn't hear from him. So the next day I called again in the morning and left a text message. Both phone numbers, left a message on both phone numbers and texted him on the cell phone. Didn't hear anything from him until about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. He says, "I'm home now. I'll be home until 6. Well, there'd be barely time for me to get this thing loaded up and over to his place. Now in yesterday's video, that hadn't happened yet. So I said, "Well, my business hours are 6 to 4. Give me a call tomorrow and I'll bring it over." Hasn't called. It's almost 1 o'clock now. Hasn't called. So we've made a decision that we are going to drop him as a customer. We're not going to do any more work for him. And we're just going to take a loss on this. We had a big storm last night, and I can't have a bunch of equipment. The tarps were blowing out all over the place, so I can't just have a bunch of equipment taking up room. So, you're trying to protect all this stuff, and you don't want it to get stolen when you leave, and you got to chain everything up. So I just don't want a bunch of equipment sitting here waiting for people to pick it up. And then, I don't want to chase people. I've told you in the past that we don't take checks, we only take cash. And the reason we take cash is because if a check bounces, that means I'm calling around the banks and I'm taking a bunch of time trying to collect my money that they owed me. And I don't have the resources or the willpower to do that. Just give me the cash and we'll call it good. Well, this is the same thing. It's constantly, you got to keep meticulous notes on when you called. You got to take screenshots of your text messages. You got to keep a file on every customer. So in 30 days, you can send a certified letter saying, "Hey, the time's up," and then you got to give them 90 days to come and get it. And storage fees. Do we charge storage fees? Which in most cases, they're probably not going to do storage fees. If they're not picking it up already, why would they pick it up if you put a bunch of money behind it? And then you got to sell it, so that means you got to list it. This is after the 90 days. This is a pressure washer, so if I have to hold it over the winter, I got to take the pressure pump, the pump off, because it'll freeze and break, so I got to put it inside, keep it warm. I got to maintain the fuel system. I'm going to have to either drain the fuel or run it every month. So it's just a ton more work. And the only thing I'll get out of this, if I sell it, is maybe 50 bucks. It will cover the parts cost. That's about it. I've got a carburetor, new carburetor on that, a shutoff valve, and a switch, shutoff switch. So it's not even worth it to me. And he didn't even give me the wand so I could spray the water. So I'd have to go buy a wand just to sell this thing. So I'm going to lose money on it no matter what I do. So what we've decided is I'm going to take it back over to this place today. I'm going to drop it off, leave a tag on it of the work completed. Of course, he's going to call me. I might even text him and tell him your pressure washer is at your front door or wherever I leave it. And then, of course, he's going to call me. Why did you bring it over? I needed some money. I'm going to just say, look, it looks like you need a second shift mechanic. You've asked me to come over both times after my business hours, and I'm not interested. I can't do that. You know, I have a wife who wants me home, and not only that, I get off at 4 o'clock. You know, I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, so I get off at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I got to get a shower, I got to eat, and then by 8:30, I'm going to bed. So, you know, you want to spend a little time with the wife and maybe watch a movie or something, or a TV show, relax a little bit. I can't be running all over town 5, 6 o'clock at night. I just can't. So, you know, he's not going to understand. He's going to be very upset because, and the thing is, here's what the thing is he is deliberately doing this. This is not, you know, like he's got big plans. He is deliberately ignoring me. And I don't know what I did wrong. He seemed very satisfied every time I've talked to him. So I'm not sure what I could do to actually make it better. But since I said I can't do it tonight, I'm going to have to do it tomorrow. Can't deliver it. And the thing is the delivery is free. So, I mean, I was going to charge $10, but I even knocked that off. I said, don't worry about the delivery charge if you're going to give me another piece of equipment. So it just doesn't make any sense what his problem is. But he obviously has a problem. It's obvious at this point. So I don't understand people, because now he's lost a mechanic. Now I know there's other mechanics out here. We were talking about this morning. There was a guy who was advertising most of this year, early winter. I'm going that way, like in January. Probably until April, and he was saying I'll do pickups, and you know, he was very, very excited. His wife ran a cleaning company, so she was advertising for him also. She would say I was going to do free cleanings if you'll have your lawnmower work done, you know, those kind of things. So he has quit. He is no longer advertising, which makes sense because there's not a lot of business around here. So it has to be a hobby business in this area. And if he's looking for full-time income, you're just not going to get it from this. You'd have to charge a lot of money to make that work, and nobody's going to pay that kind of money. So that means he's going to have to take it to these actual huge shops. And everybody that I talk to says the shop is going to take 6 months. Everybody I talk to. What it is they're actually a dealer, a lawnmower dealer. And so as a part of the contract with the mower company, say Husqvarna, in order to sell Husqvarna, you have to have a certified mechanic on staff to do the repairs. So that's not the bulk of their business, and they're not that interested in doing it. They just do it because they have to, so they can sell lawnmowers. So everybody says, you call them up, they immediately say 6 months, unless of course it's the winter time. So they're not interested in doing a pressure washer like this, or 20, yeah, it's a year 2000 lawnmower. It's the same year as the Beast. No, it was 2004, excuse me. It was 2004 years earlier, or newer. So they're not going to be interested in doing a 2004 Craftsman in a hurry. They're just not. Parts are hard to find. So me getting it done in 2 days, he's lost that. And it's unlikely he's going to find too many people to deal with this, you know, just ignoring you. Again, I don't know what I did wrong, and I'm not even sure I did anything wrong. I think he's just very selfish, and you know, it's on his time. You got to do it on his time. And so Carolyn and I have decided that this is probably how we're going to handle it. If it's not a huge, you know, I can't get any money out of this, so it's better just to write it off as a loss than it is to sit here and deal with it and take a chance it's going to get stolen and go through all the paperwork and the nightmares and the certified letters and the court fees and all that stuff. It was a riding more, and I had more money into it, then obviously I would probably reconsider what I'm saying here. But this just isn't worth my time to be hassled with it and deal with a stubborn customer. So I'll put him in my computer system that he needs a second shift lawnmower mechanic. I've already done this. I think I said in a video before, I already blacklisted one customer. They brought over a couple lawnmowers. I think it was 2 push mowers and a zero turn. And it was a family affair. It was mom and dad, son and daughter-in-law. They all came over, and the mom and dad had the zero turn. The son and daughter-in-law had 2 push mowers. Well, one push mower was smoking. It was shot. So I told him it was shot. Just run it until it dies. The other lawnmower I got running, and the zero turn, they just needed service, and there was a lot of stuff they wanted done to it. So it took a week, not 6 months, a week. So I don't know. Like on day 5, he comes over. The son does, and says, "Listen here, buddy. My dad's starting to get anxiety over this zero turn. You're going to be getting this done right now. I'll be here on Thursday to pick this up. You understand me?" So, okay. So Thursday comes around, he doesn't show up. You know, that's not what I said. Yes, it was. So I wrote in his log on my computer that he tried to intimidate me. He tried to scare me into giving him that lawnmower that day. And you know, you could just sense that he was thumping his chest. He was going to show you who the man around the place was. The problem is, he probably didn't get up till noon and had a hangover. So, you know, that's a real man. But yeah, I guess we're just going to have to blacklist people. Like I said, this is a hobby business. I would like to get lots of customers, don't get me wrong. But in the end, I'm not going to ruin my reputation because I lose a cheap, generic piece of garbage pressure washer. I'm not gonna, it's just a stupid reason to lose your reputation over. So, you know, you got 20, 30, 40 bucks in it, just write it off on taxes and be done with it. You know, all the parts will be expensed out on taxes. So what are you gonna do? Well, I guess I'll get off here and stop my rant. I don't understand people. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video on my other channel. So I hope I can inspire you to write them off so you live your dreams. Thanks for watching.